Today I'm joined by Hewie Rattray, Chief Executive of London Bitcoin Company. Hewie, thanks for coming on. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Dan. Thanks for having us.
No problem at all. So it's been a little while since you last came on. I think you spoke to Marka about a month ago. The Bitcoin treasury sector has continued to endure a pretty tough period with sentiment down and volumes a little on the thin side. What do you think is the cause for this after the excitement of the summer?
I think things really peaked at the end of June, and I think there's been a lot of competition come to market, and it's kind of diluted the investor interest in individual vehicles. And I think it's going to turn, into a much more aggressive kind of meritocracy now, where only the strong will survive and prevail. I think the treasury sector has definitely had its critics and its doubters, over the past couple of months, especially. Strategy being the leader has suffered a lot, and then Metaplanet in Japan, and then various companies over here and in Europe. And I think people are starting to question the model and the playbook and the strategy. And I think it's up to us as a group, me and my peers, to prove those people wrong.
Absolutely. So you see a bright future, or is it dependent kind of on the performance of the underlying crypto over what time frame that plays out?
I think we all have an opinion in the treasury sector that we want exposure to the asset because we believe the asset's going to a certain point. So I don't think really that's the issue. And whether we're dependent on that, we obviously are to an extent. If you're buying a lot of one asset, you want it to go up because ultimately that's the goal, right? We're here to make money. The capital markets are here to generate money, generate income for their shareholders, et cetera, et cetera. I think the way that we play the game, in between now and that point will very much separate the winners from the losers.
Yeah.
I do believe that treasury stocks are a very important part of the capital markets ecosystem and the crypto ecosystem. And I think we provide a different form of exposure from the kind of static exposure that you get from ETFs. So yeah, I'm still a permeable on, the industry that we're in.
Great. So how is London Bitcoin Company positioning itself in this environment? And what have you been doing in the background? Is there anything you can tell us about what investors can expect from here?
What I kind of explain to our community when I talk to them directly is that, I always want to keep ourselves as the kind of perfect looking vehicle in London for Bitcoin exposure. And that means, not overladen ourselves with debt, not take on too many fancy different instruments or things like that. Like, I'm a pure play Bitcoin vehicle, and I want to model myself as that to investors to attract the best form of capital. Now, when sentiment's down, people kind of ask me and, they message me and they say, oh, why are we not doing anything? Why is nothing going on? And, the message that I want to get across to those people is that I'm keeping ourselves in the kind of peripheral of all these investment companies. And I'm keeping ourselves looking good as an attractive vehicle for investment. And, when sentiment comes back, I think people will see the rewards of us being patient and kind of staying still for a little bit and seeing how that turns out.
Okay, so it's about using these periods to prepare for when sentiment perhaps does improve a bit. And you're
exactly that, yeah.
Okay, I want to ask about your listing on the main market because it's one of your key differentiators. Are there plans in place to dual list or expand internationally?
Yeah, so we're still pretty much the only candidate on the main board of the London Stock Exchange in terms of Bitcoin exposure, the only realistic candidate. We still have a very, very set in stone plan to go to NASDAQ, and there's various things that are various kind of moving points in that workflow that are happening at the moment that I can't really delve too deep into. But, the point of going to NASDAQ, cheaper cost of capital over there, definitely, better sentiment over there, definitely. And, for us, having 2 tier 1 listings as a Bitcoin treasury company would be, I think, a globally unique thing that would specifically be to us. So it would provide us a great platform, I think, to grow, with a whole bunch of Western money and beyond that. And yeah, I think that's kind of been the focus of the past few weeks. We're doing various different preparation workflows for that at the moment.
Excellent. Yeah. So what would you say are some of the key differences between that US retail market and its attitude towards crypto and the one in the UK?
I think there's just there's definitely a much more friendly atmosphere around the crypto ecosystem or the Bitcoin ecosystem in the US. The UK the institutional smart money, as they call it, is still a bit selective, around digital assets and what they see, where they see their role playing in the future of finance. Whereas, the US are a lot more aggressive and the investors there are a lot more aggressive. And, at the end of the day, if they see something with liquidity, that number goes up, they kind of want to get involved.
Okay, cool. So it's an important market to have exposure to moving forward then.
Yeah, 100%. That's where the money is, right? And I think we all know that.
Yeah. I'd like to talk a bit about your operating business, which is obviously particularly important at times like this. How is the mining operation developing?
Yeah, the mining's been really good and the numbers have been really positive over the summer. And we're going to publish some stuff about that can delve a bit deeper into the mining revenues and the profitability and things like that over the course of the next couple of months. I still maintain it's the perfect underlying business for a treasury company because it's just so incredibly relevant to the asset itself. And it gives us a great comprehension of the Bitcoin ecosystem. So yeah, I think we will continue to expand that in a strategic way over the course of the next few months and years to come, I guess. But yeah, it's really interesting for us as a treasury play to have that kind of angle and insight into the market because it gives us a lot of intel, I think.
That's interesting. So it's kind of like having the mining and the treasury, the two sides complement each other.
Oh, massively, yeah.
Great. So longer term, the goal is to perhaps scale up the mining operation?
Yeah, we've been speaking to various different other sites in America and Canada. We're trying to get in long-term electricity agreements and things like that. So yeah, like mining is still a profitable business and it still generates very good revenue. And, it will do for a number of years to come yet. And yeah, like I said, it's the most relevant underlying business to a treasury play.
Definitely. Finally, I wanted to ask, why do you think now is a good time to invest in London Bitcoin Company?
I think I would just reiterate what I said at the beginning of the interview. We are the perfect looking Bitcoin vehicle on the London Stock Exchange. We hope to have 2 tier 1 listings, hopefully by the end of the year. And then beyond that, I think we just become a very attractive, as Bitcoin kind of filters into the ecosystem, into the mind share of institutional capital worldwide, we become a very attractive play for anyone. And I think lots of companies in the UK talk about getting onto the various different indexes, the FTSE 250 or the All Share or whatever. I think in terms of clear pathway to get there, we've got the most direct route.
Great. Well, looking forward to catching up again when you next update the market. For now, though, Hewie, thanks again for coming on today.
Thank you, Dan.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.